and it is Advanced Micro Devices, AMD. Seen by analysts and investors as a leading challenger to NVIDIA's dominance of AI chips, commonly referred to as those GPUs, the graphic processing units. Shares the company jumping 12% in extended trade after surging 65% so far this year, after forecasting quarterly revenue above expectations on robust demand for its data center chips. And the company has tapped a new AI hardware opportunity in the form of central processing units as companies move from training models to running applications based on the technology. That's a process known as inference. Mark Moreland, what did you make of that result?
No, it was a very good report. I'm a shareholder in AMD. I don't have as big a position in AMD as I do in NVIDIA, but I think over the next 5 to 10 years, I think both of them will do spectacularly well. AMD has much smaller market share. If you look at data centers, NVIDIA is about 93% and AMD is about 6 or 7%. They are quite competitive in that they have a chiplet type model, which means that they have a lot more versatility in how they build the chips to make them useful for ASICs and a lot of the hyperscalers which have done deals with them. So they're a bit different to NVIDIA in a way, but they're not really competing. They're competing sort of, but the reality is that NVIDIA will sell every chip they can make for the next 5 years, and so will AMD and Intel. So the market's growing so much that I think the rising tide lifts all boats, and I think they're all going to do really well. So I'm a very happy shareholder in AMD. I think they will do better than NVIDIA over the next 5 years, and that only from the fact that NVIDIA is so much bigger at about like $5 trillion market cap. AMD is much smaller, which means that it doesn't have that hesitancy that people have that NVIDIA is too big and it can't keep growing at the current rate of about 80% a year. I think it probably can for a few more years, but AMD will grow at a similar rate, and I think the return from a shareholder's point of view will probably be higher on AMD, but they're both excellent.
All right, more upside there potentially, but you hold both. So I'm taking that as a buy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Mark Gardner, what are your thoughts? And also noticing that there is an increased actually competition from Intel. Now, both of you guys have been a bit negative on Intel, given I guess its past performance, but it's actually done very well of late.
And look, you know, I'm almost proud of Intel for a bit of a turnaround. Like the new CEO is doing a great job. I think they're partnering with the right people. But you know, it's been a perennial disappointer, and you know, and maybe it continues to go up. But like, I think NVIDIA and AMD are in a very safe space. Like that, the entire chip space realistically is. You know, is a pretty good place to be. You know, both short term and long term, and the revenue just keeps catching up with. You know, you look at they've got these enormous forward PEs, and then the moment the earnings comes through, it just readjusts because their margins are exploding and the revenue's exploding. So look, and I think I agree with Mark's point. You know, NVIDIA will struggle just on sheer size. I mean, there's supposedly only so much money in the world in terms of money supply, and NVIDIA is bordering on being, you know, in relation to global GDP, the biggest company in history, and if you kind of, at that point, can you keep growing at 80%? Well, I mean, probably not, but you know, I'm very surprised that it's even here in the first place. I think AMD's got some good catch up, and it's got a lot more scope to the upside. To expand, so I sort of tend to agree with that. I'll give it a buy as well, but yeah, it's just been outstanding, all these results, and I mean it was up I think 18% on overnight. I mean Intel was up 18, so I'd back AMD to sort of continue to head higher, and there was a small pullback from the highs in NVIDIA recently. We had a couple of clients buy NVIDIA last night leading into this, and
yep.
But yeah, very good space to be in, and even if there's a pullback, it's a case of buying more. It's not a case of would you get out. So that's how we're playing, particularly that space at the moment.
Double buy then for
Andrew?
Yep.
Just can I add something on the Intel point we were just touching on there?
Yep.
I agree with Mark. I wouldn't have touched Intel before, and what they're doing is they're going down into the. They've bought the latest machines from ASML, so the A18 and 16. So we're into the like 1.6 and 1.8 nanometer silicon, This is the bleeding edge, and even Taiwan Semiconductor hasn't gone there yet. And I would have said the chances of Intel being able to pull this off and make it work and produce it effectively were next to zero in my view. Now that what's happened though is Elon has done a deal with them in a partnership where he's actually going to help them make it all work, and somehow Intel is going to be factored into Elon's Terafab opportunity. So for me, as a very, very strong Musk supporter based on his delivery and performance, I think that makes Intel suddenly much more interesting than it would have been. I never would have touched it. I haven't invested in it, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. I think it was a massive coup for them getting Intel on board, getting Elon on board.
Well, there you go. Potential Elon effect for Intel. Let's see how that pans out for them. All right, so that's our stock of the day. This is a double buy for AMD.